Hey guys, it's Courtney here from Rose Bloom, where we intentionally design our life and business with the cosmos. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about the Scorpio New Moon, which is happening on the night of October 14th, and it's going to be happening at 23 degrees of Scorpio. So, as always, I highly recommend pulling up your own birth chart and locating where 23 degrees of Scorpio is. For example, I know that I have Pluto at 23 degrees of Scorpio, so this moon is going to be exactly conjunct my natal Pluto, which is going to affect or change the way that this new moon changes me or affects me. So it's really helpful to know that. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what we can expect from this new moon. First of all, I just wanted to say that this new moon is conjunct an asteroid called Juno. And Juno is a marriage asteroid, but it really represents our devotion to something. And devotion, I guess, past the point of sanity almost. Like you're so devoted to it that it doesn't necessarily matter if it's hurting you or helping you, you're in it. And so I feel like this energy already with Scorpio, which is a very ambitious sign, combined with Juno, is telling us to give ourselves fully over to our ambitions or our dreams or our goals. So, whatever it is in your life that you have been wanting to make progress with and haven't necessarily made that progress lately, this is your chance. Mars is just now moving direct, and the day after it moves direct, we have this new moon coming in and saying, this is a time to plant the seed of intention of the actions that you want to take to move forward to strive towards your goals. This new moon is going to be very, very positive. And just make sure that you stay tuned to your rising sign. And you can always find the links in the description. But I'll give you guys what that's going to look like specifically for you, and then of course the overall energy. So as I was mentioning, this new moon is looking really, really positive, which is something that I feel like we have needed for a long time. Scorpio is inherently a more challenging sign. It requires more out of us. And so there are going to be some elements there where we're going to have to move through shadows and really believe in ourselves in order for that ambition to get us somewhere. So inherently that's kind of built into Scorpio. However, it's being really positively supported through the different angles that it's making to planets. First of all, it's making a sextile to Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and the asteroid Pallas Athena. So all of these are really saying that it's going to be a wonderful time to start new projects, for new opportunities to start flowing. Whenever there is a sextile to Jupiter, is basically saying that all the benevolent energy of Jupiter is coming to lift you up and support you. On top of that, not only is it a good time to make connections, make opportunities happen, for changes to occur, it's also going to be supported by a strong work ethic with a sextile to Saturn, saying that if you put in the work, you will get something out of it and it will be rewarding for you. And then on top of that, with Pluto, with a sextile to Pluto, you're going to have more inner reserves. You're going to have that inner fire and passion in order to make these things like happen. And it's really beautiful to have the support from Pluto, especially with a new moon in Scorpio, because Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio. So they have very similar energies. So they are working in harmony together, basically saying that you can absolutely achieve whatever your ambition desires if you just put in the time and the effort. And again, that's going to require you to undergo some deep inner transformation in order for that to occur, which means it's not going to necessarily be handed to us or be easy, but it's possible. And it's like this first seed of light that we're starting to receive after so many challenging things happening, after so many retrogrades. It's like finally that go ahead. On top of that, Jupiter is conjunct Pluto, or that just happened recently. So essentially what that means is that this is a strong manifestation energy. It can also sort of multiply the negative things in our life, and I've mentioned this time and time again. So it's going to be really important for you to focus your thoughts on positive things at this time. So direct your energy into things where it's actually going to bear fruit for you, where it's actually going to bring things into your life, instead of focusing on the things that are out of your control or the things that are negative that are happening in this world. And then it's making a sextile to Pallas Athena, which I think is really interesting, that there are two key feminine asteroids playing a role here. Juno, which is showing us to invest ourselves into what we're doing, mind, body, and soul. And then Pallas Athena is coming in here to support, saying that there is this inner warrior within us that can overcome all the obstacles. And we are being supported to show that inner warrior and to use that within our work. So if you feel like you're coming up against obstacles, you can pull on that Pallas Athena energy to then support you and help you throughout this process. On top of this, it's making a trine to Neptune. So I do feel like there is a deeper spiritual backing behind what we're doing. The universe is giving us the green light, the go ahead, saying, we support you. We want you to be working on this right now. And so this trine is a really beautiful thing. At the same time, sometimes trines to Neptune can make us feel like a little bit lazier, but I feel like with all the other energy, it's more of a spiritual aspect rather than, an aspect of laziness. So I would say take the time to meditate, take the time to ground yourself and ensure that the action that you are moving forward with is something that feels spiritually aligned, because I don't think you will actually be able to last throughout all the challenges unless you are spiritually aligned with that path. So it has to have like a deeper, more purposeful why for you in order for this to really bear fruit 6 months from now when we have the full moon in Scorpio. So those are the aspects that are happening specifically to the Scorpio moon. And now I'm just going to talk about what else is going on in the sky that is not interacting necessarily with the moon. So we have a tense angle, a square between Venus and Jupiter, Venus and Saturn, Venus and Pluto, and Venus and Pallas Athena. So basically all that positive energy that was just supporting us, it's still making a tense angle with Venus. And what that means is that the area around money and relationships can feel quite tense at this time. There might still be some unresolved issues, some things that need to have tension in order for you to take action to resolve them. On top of that, what I really think about with Venus is our perspective about the beauty in life and feeling really optimistic, feeling really loved, feeling really supported. And while I do think that this moon is supporting us, I also think that we won't necessarily feel like this light and fluffy feeling around this this new moon. And I think that's a given, knowing what's going on in the world around us at this time. So that also could be the possibility coming in with this square to Venus, is that yes, we're making action. Yes, we are taking action. Yes, we are making progress, but it's not necessarily going to feel as light and easy as we want it to already. The other aspect of this, if we take it kind of bit by bit and look at each square, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend because you want to look at the whole picture, but some of these keywords can kind of fit together to create a whole picture. So I'm going to break it down for you anyway. So when we have a Venus squared to Jupiter, this can often represent, again, like this like laziness, because Venus is us enjoying things in our life, and so is Jupiter. And so when these are making a conversation with each other, we don't necessarily always have like the stamina to desire hard work to make things happen. So that's a possibility that we might have to overcome. We've had this like months of stagnation with Mars retrograde that we might have to like kick things into high gear, but we've already kind of developed this habit of taking things a little bit easier or doing things a little bit slower and things not progressing. So that shift into a different gear might jolt us a little bit, and this square might be challenging us in that way to make that shift or make that progress. Venus making a square to Saturn can make us feel less harmonious within our relationships. So it can make us feel disheartened about the people in our lives. It can make us feel lonely or like we are further distanced from those that we love. And I think that makes a lot of sense given what's happening with the election. I think a lot of people are celebrating and a lot of people are saddened by that. And so there is this discord that is happening already. So that Venus square Saturn makes a lot of sense. However, this energy obviously will be moving quickly past. It's not going to be hanging out there forever. And then Venus square Pluto, this can bring some toxicity coming up through relationships. And I feel like this is going to be more so in global relationships, like in politics, how people are fighting back. There can be manipulation, there can be scandals, and that is really where like the Venus square Pluto, I think, will come into play. So I think as a global or as a collective, community, we will experience these energies in that type of way, where there's going to be still tenseness going on in relationships with people, still manipulation and power issues related to economics and related to politics. Those things have always been existing, but I think they will be more so at the forefront during this new moon as well. But still, besides all that, we're still going to be making personal progress and even, collective progress towards being more evolved and towards going after our dreams. So the last point that I want to talk about before I get into each of the signs is Mercury is making a quincunx to Chiron and is opposing Uranus. So Mercury has been opposing Uranus for a while now. And whenever it's opposing Uranus, it's giving us surprising news or brand new ideas, breakthroughs. It's like the genius strike. But again, it can also be surprising news, unexpected things, or I guess like a way of viewing things or new insights that come in that kind of jolt you. And because it's making such a harsh angle to Chiron, there's this news or this insight is coming in order to help us heal. But I think instead of helping us heal, it's going to feel quite painful. So maybe this is something that will have to come to a resolution at a later point in time. But I feel like right now, whatever news starts to come in around this new moon is not going to be, is going to be painful for some people, if not all people. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure what's going to come to fruition, but there can be choice words with people that you love, or there could be news that comes in regards to politics or the environment or the economy. I feel like something is going to be happening at that time that's going to feel quite painful or uncomfortable. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about where that might fall in your own personal chart. Okay, Sagittarius Rising. This new moon is happening in your 12th house. So I think that this is really positive. A lot of times when we have new or full moons in the 12th house, it can shine a light on some of the things that we've been hiding away, some of the issues from our past that we haven't fully dealt with. So I think for you, this is actually going to be really supportive, though, to help you remove those things that have maybe been holding you back. So the reason I say that is because this new moon is making a sextile to Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, all in your second house. So I think for you guys, there could be some things to work through in regards to your identity, the way that you view yourself, the way that you value yourself as a human being. And I think there have been probably issues in the past that have come up around your self-worth and the way that you treat yourself and show up for yourself. And so those issues are being further healed at this time through this supportive energy. Because having Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto move through your second house is calling you throughout this whole year to look at your values, to look at your relationship with yourself and what you're bringing to life or manifesting in the world based off of the way that you speak to yourself. So you've had this whole year to really examine this fully, and now I feel like it's finally giving you some really positive support to look at it, but look at it from the angle of the past. So what have I done in the past? What mistakes have I made in the past, and how has this manifested in my life today? And I shouldn't say, I hate to say mistakes, because I don't necessarily think that they're mistakes, but maybe there are like negative approaches that you took with yourself in the past that you are now meant to clear away so that you can start to manifest from a really positive, loving place. You are also being supported right now with the trine to Neptune in your 4th house. You're being supported with your family and your foundations. So maybe there is something that came through for you in regards to your home or your stability and your foundations and your family support. Something has come through for you that is now supporting you in this area. And it's allowing you to go within and have the sacred space or the sacred container to connect to your deeper spiritual practice that will support you moving through this energy. So whatever it is you're clearing up from the past is going to be supported through your home environment, is what I'm saying. The other interpretation of having a new moon in the 12th house is it being kind of like a spiritual revelation. Like you're almost planting a seed for yourself to develop new intuitive abilities and spiritual abilities as you move forward. So I think that that's really beautiful as well. So whatever angle you're looking at it from, I think it's ultimately going to be something that brings you a lighter feeling in life, brings you more comfort and more happiness and more security in who you are as a person. You guys are also having Venus in Libra in your 11th house, and this is making a square to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in your 2nd house. So there might be some elements of either your friendships, your community, or even your goals for the future that feel like they're at odds with this internal development and internal shift of values and viewing yourself that you are currently establishing. So whether that is a non-supportive friend or a community that doesn't necessarily reflect your own values, or if it's a goal that no longer feels totally aligned with your values, or with this change that you're making to yourself, there is something there that needs to be worked through. I like squares. Squares are always uncomfortable. They cause tension, but I like them because the tension then requires us or pushes us to make a change or to make a move. So maybe it's a change in friendship, maybe it's a change in community or change in your goals, but something needs a readjustment there in order to reflect the internal shifts that you've been making throughout this year. Something is not quite aligned, and it's going to be drawn, like a light is going to be drawn to it at this new moon in order for you to shift that. And then in the next 6 months, after you've made that shift, you'll start to see things manifest more fully, more deeply for you, especially because as this is a new moon in Scorpio, it is one of manifestation. It is one of us going after our dreams. And so if you can make this shift, I think it will be easier to go after your dreams. It will be easier to feel like you are in line with your true path. On top of that, you guys have Mercury moving through your 12th house, and it's making an opposition to Uranus in your 6th, and a quincunx to Chiron in your 5th. So having Mercury in the 12th is really great for, again, helping you bring insights into the things from the past that need to have light shed on them, and to help you have new ideas for your spiritual connection as well. So I think that this is really, really beautiful. But then there's a quincunx to Chiron in the 5th, and this can make it painful and uncomfortable in some aspect of your creativity, your sexuality, your pleasure in life. So it's almost like, yeah, and also when I think of the 5th house, I think of like our inner child as well. So some of this news that is coming through for you in regards to the past could bring up wounds around the inner child. Yeah, it could bring up wounds from yourself, from your childhood. That makes a lot of sense to me. And there could be some element of you, expressing your pleasure, expressing your creativity. There could be wounds around that as well that come up. But there is something that's going to feel slightly uncomfortable around the ideas or the news that come through for you in regards to the past. So I think that overall, though, this new moon is going to be really positive, even if that does happen for you. And so I think that this is really beautiful. And so just keep your intentions, like write them down, what you want to achieve in the next 6 months, because there's going to be a lot unfolding and a lot that's possible for you. And so I think as you begin to move through and heal some of these things from the past, from your childhood, around your own self-worth, you're going to see that things start coming in left and right with a lot less energy, because you're going to be super aligned. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys. If so, please comment below. I would love to hear from you.